Ingalls on this beautiful third Sunday in January. I wanted to take a moment just to draw our attention to the wonderful social leader and master teacher, in my personal opinion, of Martin Luther King Jr. Tomorrow is a celebration of his birthday. Of course, he's a Capricorn. Capricorns. Anyway, I just wanted to take a minute to honor the impact of his life on our country, on the world at large, and the good that he brought forward. I was asking Richard before we began the service if he knew that song. Do you guys know that song about Martin Luther King Jr. that James Taylor used to sing, Shed a Little Light? I love that song. Let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, sister and brotherhood. So that's what he stood for. And that certainly is in keeping with the principles and the teaching of our, teaching with the Science of Mind principles. So as I was beginning to prepare my talk today, this idea kept rolling around in my head. And it is, change is inevitable, and conscious participation with change is optional. And that's really what I want to focus on today as we begin our conversation and our discussion about the principles of successful living, which is actually a chapter in the Science of Mind textbook by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And this is the third Sunday, as I mentioned, of January, and January is traditionally our Back to Basics month. So the focus for the third Sunday is always what it does. And the it in what it does is what Rachel just sang to us about, is the thing itself, God, Spirit, the all that is, whatever name you prefer to call it, it is that. And we're going to focus on what it does. So last week I said that I really doubt that you bring yourself down here every Sunday to the temple, to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living to gather more information. Because honestly, we have plenty of information. What you really come for, in my opinion, is to be motivated, to be inspired, to have community support so that you can utilize these basic principles, spiritual principles that we teach in Science of Mind, so that you can create a more successful life. A life full of love and joy and all of the good that is available to you through this infinite mind, through this it, if you will. So, change is a natural part of the physical world. I mean, that is a no-brainer. All you have to do is look around at nature and see that nothing ever sits still. We are constantly changing and moving and creating new things in the world around us. But here's the thing. This changing world, this world of form, is created, is born from, expressed from the changeless principle of life. It almost seems like a contradiction. That the changeless births that which is constantly and forever changing. We write songs about it. Everything's always changing. The world around us in form is an ongoing, moving expression of the living, breathing life that is within us. And in one, we are one with it. So, I wanted to tell a story. It's an ancient story. And it's about a famous rabbi, Rabbi Akiva is his name. He was born in 50 AD, so it's a very old story. And he lived in Israel. He was well known in Israel. And one day, he was walking home. He was walking along the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. And he became lost in thought, just lost in his own thoughts. And he made a wrong turn and he got lost. And suddenly he found himself standing in front of a Roman fort. And one of the Roman soldiers atop the fort shouts down at him, "Who are you and why are you here?" Which took him by surprise. And he looks up at him, and being the very wise rabbi that he was, he shouts back, "Well, who are you and why are you here?" And the Roman soldier says, "I am employed by the Roman army to watch this road. So I ask you, who are you and why are you here?" And the rabbi pauses for a few minutes and he says, "How much do you get paid to watch this road?" And the Roman soldier says, "I get paid 10 denarius a day." And the rabbi yells back at him, "I will pay you double if you will come to my house, stand in front of my home, and shout these questions at me every morning." Who are you and why are you here? Who are you and why are you here? I have personally found that when I ask and answer these questions honestly in my life, they bring me to a very expanded and enlarged and infinite sense of self. That they stand me within the basics of the science of mind teaching, which says that God is all there is and I am one with it. And when I ask myself, in any particular situation that shows up in my life, any event, circumstance, or anything that happens, when I say to myself, who am I in this situation, I am drawn into the presence of the divine, and I see it through that perspective. It affects what I say, how I behave, and how I interact with everyone. Because the answer to that question is, I am the divine presence of love. And I have come here to be an emissary for that divine love and that divine presence. I am here to be an emissary of truth, of love, of kindness, of compassion. I am here because I am an expression of the divine life. And I am divinely appointed to be here. And when I stand on that foundation, on that firm foundation of that answer, which is infinite and true, then I am an expression of this idea that I am co-creating, that I am participating in the divine laws that create my life. I am consciously creating and participating with this divine power. That's pretty cool. Because here's what I know. I know that life is always moving through me in a new and a fresh way. Because that's the nature of life. Life is always changing. Knowing who I am and that I stand on this foundation of truth allows me to move into a higher and a greater experience of self, God, the one life, and to announce who and what I am no matter what the situation looks like in front of me. No matter what I see in my life, I can tell myself, I am a larger beingness. This does not define who I am. Or if it's a good thing and I want to experience more of it, I wash myself in that and continue to think these thoughts. So, standing on the platform of the all that is, participating with the law of creation to define and create my life is creating a successful life. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about the principles of this successful life. And I am calling a successful life. I wrote it down. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to share with you. Ernest Holmes said this about change. I'm backtracking, but that's okay. He said that the one cause back of all never changes, but it constantly creates form. So we perceive a changing form within that is changeless. We are the changeless, the world around us in form changes, and we participate with that change. But here's what, standing on that beingness, on that platform, that structure, that foundation of beingness, knowing who I am and why I'm here, a successful life is inevitable. And we are calling a successful life a favorable demonstration of our intentions. A favorable demonstration of our intentions. Now, I don't know about you, but I really want to live a life full of love. I want to live a life where I know that I am safe secure, and that I am supported emotionally, financially, spiritually, that I am living life to the fullest, that I have friends, that I have love in my life, where I am in service, where I can feel a part of this greater loving presence, this benevolent all that is. That's what I want. That is a successful life. Anybody here not want that? No? Anybody here not believe that it's possible for them? So here's my observation. If you are not experiencing that, and you don't believe that it's possible, congratulations, you're a success. Because whatever you think, whatever you believe about what is possible for your life is your intention. And if that manifests in your life, then you are a success. So what are you holding? Who are you? Why have you come here? What's your intention? Who are you and why have you come here? Ooh. Here's what Ernest Jones, our founder, said about that. Now, I really want us to listen. I know that Ernest Jones is very wordy and that sometimes he is redundant and goes on, but this is pretty profound. So we're going to take it bite by bite. This science, the science of mind teaching, this metaphysical teaching that we practice here, does not promise something for nothing. It does, however, tell us that if we comply with the law complies with us. He said, man, I said person. No person can demonstrate peace and cling to unhappiness. No one can jump into the water and remain dry. This is contrary to law and to reason. Now here he really goes in. This is the big stuff. No person whose entire time is spent in the contemplation of limitation can demonstrate freedom from that limitation. Who are you and why have you come here? Very simple. That draws me into a greater expanded sense of who I know I am. Who are you and why have you come here? So, the teaching is that nothing, we do not create something from nothing. So what are we creating from? What is the stuff, this no thing, that all of form is created from? It is consciousness. It is the divine life. It is who and what we are. And we're using it all the time. We are constantly creating. We cannot be apart from the nature of the divine that has expressed us. So we are creating all the time. Whether we're conscious of it or not, why not do it consciously? Why not watch our thoughts? Remember last week I told you that research shows that we think 60,000 thoughts per day on average, and they're usually just random. But if we watch our thoughts, we will notice that some of these thoughts are repetitive, that some of them are a habitual pattern of thinking and feeling. Those thoughts create our experience. They catch fire in our consciousness. And the law just says, yeah, yes, yes, oh, of course, yes. Law complies with us. But to live a successful life, we must comply with it. And that means that if we want to have that full life full of love and success and financial, emotional, and spiritual flourishing, then those are the thoughts that we have to have. What are you thinking? What on a habitual daily basis are you thinking? And how do you train those thoughts? If you discover that you fall into the trap of living in limitation, of swimming in that water, how do you change that? The only way I know of, and believe me, I have tried them all, is to do spiritual practice. Yeah, I've tried, confession, I have tried to change my life for the better, to live a successful life just through ideas and theories. I didn't really want to do the work. It didn't work. So here's what I know. We in this particular organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, and many, many organizations teach spiritual practice.
We teach prayer, we teach meditation, we teach visioning and visualization. We teach chanting and being in community, sacred service, sacred giving. You name it, we teach it. And if we do it thoughtfully and from a place of love, it is a spiritual practice. Walking in nature is a walking meditation. There are so many ways to do spiritual practice. And what I have found is when I do them on a regular basis, they begin to infuse my life with that pattern of thinking and feeling, of an elevated sense of who and what I am and why I'm here. Remember that story? I love to tell the story about the Indian women who weave the jasmine into their hairs in the evening, and then they sleep on it all night, and then their whole lives are infused with the smell of jasmine the next day because their hair is alive by the smell of it. That's how spiritual practice works. That's how spiritual practice works. The predominant color of our thoughts is what the law of life filters through. So if I want a really great cup of coffee, I'm not going to go out and buy the cheapest coffee I can, the one that, that we're just going to throw away, the used grounds. I'm not going to buy that and filter my water through that and expect to have a really great brew. No, I'm going to go out and buy some really nice coffee that I can filter the creative flow of life through so that I can have a flavorful and aromatic brew of coffee. Such is our thoughts. Our thoughts are the coffee grounds. What is the law of life being filtered through in you? What are you filtering through? So I read this interesting study. I was trying to remember where I had read it, and I couldn't remember. But anyway, it was a study on deliberate practice, and that's a term that was coined by a man named K. Erickson. I did look this up because I knew I'd run across it somewhere at some time. And the K is just an initial. It's not a name, so I don't really know what his first name is. But anyway, he was from the University of Florida, and he and his team decided that they would test the idea, this overarching idea that to achieve mastery at anything, music, sports, whatever it is, that you had to have some kind of proclivity, some innate talent for that particular task, except for height. The one thing that they discovered was that if you want to play basketball, you really do have to be tall. So anyway, they decided to test that theory because they didn't believe it was true. And what their research showed is that it wasn't necessarily the innate ability that you were born with, God-given talent, so to speak, but it came down to deliberate practice. How deliberately do you practice this thing in your life every day? Here's what they defined as deliberate practice. Practice that is purposeful and systematic. While regular practice might include mindless repetitions, deliberate practice requires focused attention and is conducted with a specific goal of improving performance. I have to say that we don't call it spiritual practice for nothing. We do spiritual practice so that we can focus our attention and rise up in the level of our thinking and our vibration and our beingness to be at one with our source. And the more we do this, the better we get at it, and the more it infuses every part of our daily life. I told you that I went to visit my daughter back in the end of January. She lives in Petaluma, California. My brother also lives there, and I went to visit him as well. And my brother and I are pretty close, even when we don't talk to each other for maybe a few months on end. We can sit down together and go deep fast. Do you ever have a friend like that where you just go deep? And there you are. And we were having a conversation about his life, and he was talking how he had been exploring and expanding and all kinds of things to help him create a successful life. And he was talking about, he believes he's an atheist. And then we talked about my definition of God, and he said, oh, well, if that's that, then maybe I'm not an atheist. But anyway. So, because I told him that it was the power of life moving through him all the time, that green growing edge on the edge of the leaf that comes out in the spring, that's God. So anyway, I brought up the idea of meditation to him because he was looking for a way to go deep and to bring more meaning into his life. and right out of the gate it was, oh, meditation, I can't do that. No, meditation. I tried that, my thoughts are everywhere. And I'm like, oh, really? You've tried. And so I said, let's try this together. And I said, close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to count your breaths in and out to 10. Just watch your breath. And so we did that. It was less than a minute. And we came back out and I said, how do you feel? He said, well, that felt pretty good. And I said, you just meditated. That's it. You just meditated. I said, meditation does not have to be prayer or meditation. They don't have to be these big chores that you have to do every day. They're simple. You begin small. You deliberately practice them until they are woven into your life like brushing your teeth. Until they become a part of your life like having a good meal. Something that is nurturing and self-care that you look forward to. Because this is the route for you. This is the path towards creating a successful life. I teach my kindergartners that. I teach them when they come in from recess to take a deep breath, and I tell them that their amygdala is calming down, their security guard is calming down, and that their wise leader is taking over in their prefrontal cortex. We're meditating. That's what we do. This is a very simple thing to do. It does not have to be a chore. But it does have to be a commitment and a decision that you make so that you are committed to deliberate practice. And I guarantee you that you will be a master of whatever spiritual practice is that you choose to do. And everybody has to choose for themselves because everybody resonates with a different thing. Mine changes all the time. And I'm always looking for something because remember, spirit is never stagnant. It is never complacent. It is always moving. It is always changing. And so if something has come up in your life that doesn't feel like you want it to feel, it is spirit drawing you forward. Oh, who am I in this situation? And why have I come here to this moment? So play with me for a minute. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. I don't care, whatever works. Take a nice deep breath. And I want you to draw up into your conscious awareness some thought that repeats itself in your thinking, feeling, on a regular basis. I'm going to invite you to think of something that you would like to change, something that you would like to shift. Maybe it's your health, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your relationships, maybe you just want a more juicy, creative life in general. Something that when it comes up, you get a little catch in the throat and it doesn't feel quite right. And now I want you to ask yourself, who am I in this situation with this thought? And what have I come here to do about it? How can I switch the repetitive thinking, the repetitive habit of my thinking and feeling and being around this idea, this area, this experience, so that it will shift? How can I stand into the truth? So let's say it's your health, and you've got a little hitch in your get along, and you want that fixed. What is the truth of your being? Is your body define who you are, or does the creator of all that you are one with define your body? Your body is recreating itself all the time. So can you say that you are the magnificence, the wholeness, the vitality, the thriving nature of God, and it is expressed as my body now because I am directing it consciously through deliberate practice to express itself because I am complying with law and law is complying with me. And that is my intention. And I set it into motion right here, right now. Because I am that powerful. Because the God within me that animates my being is all powerful. I co-create with this infinite power. I am one with it. Okay, take a nice deep breath.
pray for each other or hold a truth for each other is because we're all in one mind. There's only one life. We're using the same consciousness. It isn't consciousnesses, it's consciousness. And it's everywhere present. So, here's my invitation to you. This week, as you move through your day, ask yourself, in any situation that feels a little odd, and you're not sure what to do with, ask yourself, who am I in this situation, and what have I come here to do? Why am I here? And decide what your answer is going to be, because your answer is your intention. And if you are in touch with that divine nature that is within you, and you invite its presence in, that will be your prayer. That will be the intention you set into love, because that's what it does. Let's pray. Take a nice deep centering breath in. Oh, I know that God is absolutely all there is. God, Spirit, the thing itself, whatever name works for you, that power, that presence is a resonance and an experience in your life. Conscious or unconscious, you are one with it. And it can be no other way, for it animates your very being. And this presence, this wise, beautiful, truthful, powerful, loving, big, small, grand, tiny, minuscule power and presence is right where you are. It can be nowhere else. You are an expression of its life. You are the divine expression of all that is beautiful, wise, complete, and whole, right where you are. So I speak my word for and about each and every presence here in this room, each person that is here, and each and every person that is not, and all life on our planet. I speak my word for and about our beloved country, that she may rise in greatness, in the expression of the divine love, that all of our planet is washed, arised in the mantle of love, for it is the divine nature of all that is, the mother, the plants, the animals, the universe. It's all one. It's all love. And I speak my word that there is a shift in consciousness in each of these lives that expands into a greater experience of that loving power and presence, and that it is infused in every area of our lives, that our words are born from love, that our behavior is born from love, that our actions in the world and the way we treat each other is born from love, for it is who we are and what we have come here to be, emissaries of the divine. Our job is to bring heaven to earth. And I accept that truth for all of us right here, right now, that we are divine emissaries of love here on earth, making a change in the demonstration and the form consciously. Thank you, God, for this ability to co-create with your power and presence, with all that is. Thank you, Spirit, for expressing as us in this world of form, in its beauty, in its wisdom, in its presence. So I just take in a deep breath. I know that the words I have spoken are already true in the mind of God and are making their way into demonstration now. So I release it. I simply let Spirit do Spirit's work. And I signify my agreement by saying, and so it is.